Sonia Elijah is an investigative journalist who has written a three-part report for The Conservative Woman on the Chinese-made Innova lateral flow test, on which the British government has spent £3.2 billion. But can we trust the accuracy of this and other tests, given that the Innova lateral flow test has now been withdrawn by the US Food and Drug Administration? Let's speak to Sonia Elijah, who joins me now. Hi, Sonia.
Hello, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Great to have you on the programme. What provoked your interest in this story?
Well, I had done an investigative report on the PCR test a few months back that the Conservative Woman published. So I've always sort of been investigating these COVID-19 tests. So my sort of attention got drawn to the lateral flow test, and I just did some digging and researching and actually looking inside the box, and I came across the manufacturer's certificate. And the test is, made in China by Xiamen Biotime Biotechnology. And even though the box is all branded as NHS, and obviously they've supplied it through Innova, which is a US startup company. So it just got me all thinking, and I just decided to do more investigating. And then I wrote my report.
Yes. Now, of course, these lateral flow tests are the ones that are handed out like confetti at the moment, aren't they? And they come in a white box, as you said, branded by the NHS. So what do we know about the problems with these tests?
The problems with these tests is that they are very unreliable and they are highly inaccurate. You had the likes of Professor John Deeks and Professor Alison Pollock last year warning against the use of the Innova lateral flow test. But the government did not heed their warning. Back in November, there was a joint report done by Public Health England and Oxford University, and they published their results, and they selected the Innova lateral flow test to go forward to be used in the pilot scheme in Liverpool, because it was the only one nearest the four-stage evaluation process. It was near completion. And based on that, and all those results, there was a very wide range of sensitivity rates, depending on who conducted the test. So if it was a sort of laboratory scientist, it was up as high as 76%, but it dropped significantly when members of the public used the test.
And there are huge implications for the country and our COVID strategy if these tests aren't accurate, Sonia.
Yes, exactly. There are. I mean, just recently, there's talk of a delay in the June 21st sort of end of restrictions because of the increase in cases.
So-called cases.
Yes, exactly. So it is very worrying. And I believe there should be an urgent review into the performance of the Innova lateral flow test, especially given the light of the US Food and Drug Administration's warning for the public to not use this test.
I mean, it's not a vote of confidence, is it? What do they know that we don't?
Exactly. I mean, it's the government have spent an obscene amount of taxpayers' money, 3.2 billion, on these tests that are actually I encourage people to read my report. They're actually designed for people who have symptoms, who are symptomatic. But the government has their whole push on mass testing is for the asymptomatic, the people who do not have symptoms.
Do we know whether these tests favour positive results or negative results, notwithstanding whether they're accurate?
Actually, there's a high risk of both false positive and false negative.
Brilliant. Worst of both worlds.
Yes.
So you can walk around with COVID, spreading it like it's going out of fashion, having received a negative result from this lateral flow test, or you can have no COVID, but apparently you're about to drop dead.
Yes, they're just highly unreliable and inaccurate. And it's just a travesty of how much money has been spent on these Chinese-made tests.
I'm just thinking of all of the kids, Sonia, that can't go to school for 2 weeks because of an inaccurate positive test, or a business owner that can't go in and rescue their company for the same reason, or even a brain surgeon that can't go into the operating theatre.
I know it's appalling. It really is appalling. And it's almost the whole country is being held hostage by this testing.
Is there an answer for accurate testing, or should we just bin it?
Personally, I think the testing of the asymptomatic should stop, really, because there are so many experts and scientists who come out and said, unless you have a live infection or showing symptoms, then you are contagious. So for people who are healthy, they've got no symptoms, nothing. I don't understand why there is a need to test the people who are healthy.
Sonia, you've got another part of this report to come, is that right?
Yes, part 3, the concluding part, comes out early next week on the conservative woman. So I encourage people to go there, conservativewoman.co.uk, and support independent journalism.
Well, the first 2 parts of this report are absolutely fascinating, required reading, and by the looks of it, a national scandal, Sonia. Amazing work, amazing investigative journalist, Sonia Elijah there, whose 2 parts of her 3-part report can be found at The Conservative Woman. Just Google those words and you will find it. Lots more to come after this, our political panel and talks